You've probably heard the phrase at one time or another, I need to be more healthy. We got you covered. This week, we catch up with Jason Kirby, a health and fitness expert and coach who will help you get results.
Pour the coffee, dog.
Top of the mustache to you, and welcome to another episode of Mustaches and Coffee, where the topic goes, nobody knows. I'm Isaac.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Jason. What's good?
It's good to see you, Jason. You're our special guest for this week. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Make me feel special. I like it. It's awesome. How you guys doing?
Not bad.
Doing great. Great to have you because you're all the way in Thailand. So we had to go to great lengths to get this set up, get our schedules aligned, but it's great to be here. Great to have you on. It's an honor to see you, catch up a little bit. So let's ask you as guest. You have the honors, as we always do. We ask the question, what's brewing in your life?
Oh man. Well, like you mentioned, living in Thailand, right? That's always an adventure. But just adapting, I would say that's the thing brewing. When you live in the States, you're adapted, you're kind of going through like, the regular rigmarole, but when you move to another country, it's like the adaptation doesn't stop. You're always adapting, you're always learning. So I work out, I eat, I live life, but at the same time, it's always like as soon as I step out of my house, I'm in a classroom. Like it's learning new words, new, I don't know what you want to call it, new things about the culture, new laws.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's always something new.
You're always on your toes then, that sounds like, but that's great, man. That's great. That's gives
cool.
you good perspective for us because those are things I wouldn't think about. And we'll get into it more because we're going to be able to interview you for this week. We got a lot of things we could jump into, but that's a great tease to go into it. But let's ask you, Ben, first, what's brewing in your life?
So I actually just got an espresso machine because I always need espresso for the depresso. But bought it off of that Bid FTA site that's here in the States and ended up getting it for $23. Everything works.
Very nice.
That's
everything
awesome.
works.
Yes, everything works. It got a little crack in the back, but nothing real bad. You don't even see it. So
that's kind of crazy how things can just be so much cheaper because of a little crack, but everything works on it.
Perfect.
That's awesome though. All right. Well, as far as for me, I've just been busy with family life, pretty boring. Nothing really new and exciting. I'm just happy to have Jason on with us. I think that's pretty exciting to have somebody from another land join us on this episode. And we're going to be so excited to share more in this interview. So without any delay, let's go ahead and get into the interview. Health and fitness is a very important part of our life, but sometimes we take it for granted. So here at Mustaches and Coffee, we thought we need an expert to help walk us through how we can be better in our health and fitness routine. So Jason, again, it's an honor to have you with us all the way from Thailand. We want to pick your brain a little bit for us and for the listeners. So maybe we'll start from the beginning a little bit. When did your interest in health and fitness really start?
Well, first of all, you're using that word expert a little bit, you know, you're throwing that around like I'm not an expert in any shape or form. I mean, to be honest, right? Like when when you're a fat kid growing up, it's all the motivation you need, man. That's all the motivation you need. Getting picked on, getting called names, not being able to run with the other kids, not being able to do a pull up in front of everybody in gym class when you're like in what, the 4th grade. So, childhood trauma will do it, you know. So that's pretty much where it started. You know, having asthma, that didn't help. But I think what really motivated me was trying to get into the fire department. I spent a lot of time trying to get a job working for the fire department in Columbus. That was a big motivator. But I mean, outside of that, right? Outside of that, I would say just being tired of, you know, getting picked on, clothes not fitting, going to the store, going to the big and tall section, you know, when I'm, you know, I'm not big, I'm not tall, you know, I'm average. So those things, you know, really like, and then when you find out like, oh, I can change that. That's possible for me to, I don't have to stay this way. When you figure that out and you actually understand, like, if I just stop doing this, this will happen. Okay. Well, what else do I need to stop doing or start doing? And you know, then that'll happen. So yeah, I would say childhood trauma really, really, really motivated me to make changes. And visits to the ER, that sucks. Yeah.
Oh no. That would definitely do it for me. I can relate. When I was younger, I got picked on, and the sad thing is I was taller than most kids. So you'd think that I would be intimidating. No, these kids were a fraction of my size, but they were little bullies. So I can totally relate to your motivation that you're talking about there for sure.
Yeah.
They're like mean little chihuahuas.
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Yeah.
They were like nipping at me because I don't even think they could have reached me. You know, they threatened me. You know, it's always how kids would, you know, let's fight. But I don't even know if they could have reached me trying to throw a punch. That's how short they were. But I feel like
they probably came in packs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they definitely came in packs. So I relate to your story on that. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So that's what you need. And that's actually a question that is streamed from that. How important do you think the mentality is for someone that's trying to get fit, that's trying to lose weight, or just be more healthy?
Ooh, yeah. So I learned, it took a while, and I wish I would have had somebody explain it to me, but you know, you can't just get into eating right and working out and think, okay, I'll do this for 6 months. All right, I'm done. You know, it's not like a turkey in the oven, like, oh, it's done. Like, nah, like this doesn't stop. Like, as soon as you start picking up the Twinkies and the Capri Suns and the, you know, the Ho-Hos again, as soon as you go right back to that, it starts all over again. So it has to be looked at as like, okay, this is my new lifestyle. And I think the fitness industry has kind of done a lot of people a disservice, you know, with all these fad diets and you know, growing up as a kid, you know, that was the other thing. My brother would get like muscle magazines. And I mean, you got muscle magazines, you got Marvel comics, you got, you know, the cartoons growing up and the video games. And so you're like, this is what I want to look like, an action figure. I want to look like He-Man. I want to look like, you know, Captain America, whatever. And so anyway, I don't know how I got on that. Anyway, going back to what your original question was. Sorry. Yeah, it has to be like every day. And I think this is what I wanted to get on. I think the fitness industry has kind of made people feel like everything is a quick fix.
Yeah.
And here's the magic bullet. Here's the magic pill. Just eat this, just take that, or just don't eat bread. And it's like, okay, I can do that for like a week, you know?
Yeah.
But how do I do that every day, you know? And so I think if people understand that it needs to be a lifestyle and not a section of life, like part of a year, I think once people understand that, and the more they accept that, the easier it'll make it to, for people to actually make changes. But if people are just like, I just want to do it for a few months and get ready for the summer, yeah, that's you're on the road to heartache. Yeah, you're gonna be spinning your wheel.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's the key. I think the word you said, lifestyle. It's not a fad. It's not a quick fix. You got to treat it like this is a lifestyle change. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And that's where a lot of those diets are so bad of it's only going to last for so long. Like you said, don't eat bread or all these other things. Maybe that's not for everybody. Not everybody can really do that long term. So I appreciate how you brought that out. Yeah, that's something that mentally, I think a lot of people have to view it that way. So yeah, great point on that. So for someone that is starting out on their health journey, how would you maybe help them prepare? Because that isn't something you want to really jump in right away and just think I'm going to click, right?
Right. No. I remember years ago, a nurse who was into like health and fitness. I was going in for a checkup and I was telling her like, look, I'm having a hard time like controlling my weight. I was probably about, I don't know, like 19, 20 or whatever. And I was on this yo-yo. Like I would get like really skinny and then I would get like really heavy. And it's just, and one of the best things she told me was, this is before, I'm showing my age, but this is before like smartphones and apps where you could record what you ate and things like that. But she was like, write down what you're eating for a whole week. Just write it down, and then after that week, go back and look at it and think to yourself, was that a good choice? So whenever somebody's starting off on their journey, I always tell all my clients, don't change anything. To the best of your ability, don't change anything. If you want to, that's fine, but really try not to. I'm not trying to tell people to just eat Snickers, but for the first week of this journey, just eat how you normally eat, for the most part, and just kind of go back and look, especially with these apps like MyFitnessPal. Like I love it. It's free. Yeah. It'll tell you exactly, you know what I mean? The calories, the fats, carbs, and proteins for that week. Just record it on that app, and then go back and look and just kind of like marinate on that for a minute. Like, wow, how did I eat 5,000 calories in 2 days? Well, Big Macs and fries and, double quarter pounders with cheese will do it,
Yeah.
So that's what I tell people. And it's like you're looking in the mirror, you're looking in the mirror, like, cause you really are what you eat. It's no getting around it. Mm-hmm. So when people, I don't want to say, when you're forced, because that's what you have to do. You have to force yourself to look at, okay, this is me. This is what I'm doing. Do I like it? Do I like the results? And then they have to have that internal, like, meditation, like, ooh, realization, like, okay, I got to make some changes. So that's the first thing I always tell people. Just know what you're putting in your body first.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. For me, in my experience, that's always been the case. If my mind was not there, I didn't get the results I was wanting. It just goes without saying. If you're not having your heart or your passion in something, you're just not going to succeed. That's just
absolutely
kind of goes without saying. But here we are talking about it. It's making sure we stress that. That's for someone that wants to begin that journey. You got to make sure your head's in the right place. So
that's it.
Totally get that.
I did hear that Jason said I could live off Snickers. Is that what you said?
No, I mean, you could, right? You could.
I'm good with that.
You good with that?
I was going to say, they did come out with a Snickers protein bar just recently, I saw.
Really?
Really?
I'm sure that's packed with the sugar and all the other processed foods, but there's protein in it, so it's got to be good,
there's
right?
protein in it. Yeah, there's protein in cake too.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. I don't know why. I think I know why I brought up Snickers. I have a bite of Snickers like every day.
Really?
A bite.
But still. Some people, you take a bite and you gain 10 pounds, so you don't look like
Yeah. Well, I make sure I have all the good stuff first before I, take my bite of Snickers. But again, nothing wrong with having Snickers, and I don't want to use the word moderation because people are like, oh, well, a cup of rice and a cup of Snickers is like, no, that's not moderation. Moderation is like, filling yourself up with the whole, the whole foods first, brown rice or rice, whichever, sweet potatoes, as your carb, and then taking a bite of a Snickers, not the whole thing. Just let me get a taste, and then you put it away and then you move on. So that's one of those life hacks that I try to get all my clients to do. Like even if you don't feel like you need to have a bite, I mean, there's nothing wrong with just getting into the routine of let me get my sweet fix. You know, what's a bite gonna do? It's not gonna do anything. If anything, it'll keep your I'm forgetting words again. It'll keep your cravings in check. It'll keep your cravings in check because we all have them.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah.
Well,
but no, I'm not saying live on Snickers.
The other thing, well, taking a bite of Snickers kind of works too because they've made them so little anymore. So you basically you can just eat the whole thing.
Yeah,
they do.
The so-called fun size.
Right.
They're There's the Snickers bars are slightly bigger than that.
Right.
Yeah. They're like the mini muffins of Snickers. You just pop them like pills, That's how people probably eat them.
Dangerous. Yeah. Mini muffins, man. Those are dangerous. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got to be careful with those. There's I think the other word that jumped out to me is what you said, moderation. And that can be defined differently depending on the person you ask. So you probably need to be honest with yourself when you think of moderation. Don't think, okay, well, this means I can have several bites. Whereas to your point, a bite, keep
a bite
to a bite.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that thought too, because some people that might not work because it triggers I want more. I know some people are like that, but like you said, that's a nice hack of getting a routine, maybe just doing a bite. So I'm taking notes here of all these things you're saying. I'm like, yes, that's a
man.
good point.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is something I've learned recently. So I'm actually on blood pressure medicine. So I found out that a lot of the food here in the States, and as you used to live here, sodium's in everything.
Right.
So cutting back from sodium, limiting it, it's like completely changed who I am, lost weight and everything. It's just a filler and everything.
That's interesting. You bring up sodium. So you're still on the blood pressure medicine right now?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. That's interesting. We're about to get into a session. Yeah. When did they prescribe the blood pressure medicine? Like how long ago was that?
3-4 months ago.
All right. Did they give you a window or a timeline where you can get off
6
of
months. 6 months. They said change everything. He said he didn't want me to be on it for real long, but they did change your diet, come back in 6 months, and then be able to do some more testing. If I mate, then he's going to pull it right off.
Okay. Because here, this is interesting. Here's my thing with blood pressure. Like a lot of my clients will worry about that. They'll worry about because sodium is in everything.
Yeah.
If you've ever had Asian food, I mean, they love MSG. I mean, that's just straight up sodium. But the people here are not like Thailand doesn't have the obesity problem like the States yet. They're getting there. And the reason why they're getting there is because Thais love boba tea, man. Boba tea is huge. Like, and they're cheap here. Like, I think you guys spend like what, $5 for a boba drink, right?
For the small,
probably.
That's probably
for the small.
I still haven't had it yet. Sometimes
inflation for real. Yeah. I don't drink it, but I've heard. I think somebody mentioned it in passing. They said it was like $5 for a small. Maybe that was just that.
Wild.
location.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's nuts.
Here they're like, because I think the boba, because I remember when COVID was happening, the boba was the issue, the little tapioca pearls. They get them from
Mhm.
Taiwan. So
Huh.
we never ran out here. We never ran out of the tapioca pearls here. But
Hmm.
I mean, the boba here just flows. Like I can get a yeah, it flows like wine. Like I can get a boba here for like
Bubble
30
wine.
cents. Yeah.
Wow.
30 cents, 50 cents. I can get a boba.
Goodness.
Yeah. But the Thais, they love their sweets and the boba and the liquid sugar. I tried to get a
Mhm.
smoothie one
Wow.
day. I tried to get a coconut smoothie. And I saw the lady start to pour in this like clear liquid. I'm like, what's that? She's like, sugar. I'm like, that's going to go right into my bloodstream. You
Right.
know. But anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, so on the sodium thing, like it's interesting that you kind of developed that, Ben, because, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional, but anecdotally, I would say sodium doesn't tend to make people fat because, you know, like I said, here in Thailand and in a lot of Asian countries, I mean, sodium's rampant.
Yeah.
But the issues usually start to happen with the sugar, you know.
Hmm.
But what I was going to say, Ben, is as soon as you can get off of that, as soon as you do get your sodium under control, uh, if you can, just really pay attention to your sugar intake. Just really like
Okay.
see what what's sneaking in your diet that you may not
Yeah.
be aware of that's got a lot of sugar.
Yeah, good to know.
Because if somebody were to tell me, Jason, you can have eggs with no salt, I'd be like, well, kill me. Just kill me then. I mean, you know, I gotta have salt. Yeah. So,
I'm with you. I gotta have salt on it too. Yeah.
dude, yeah, like that's
Yeah.
like, you might as well take away my coffee too. Like, come on.
That's
Yeah.
good to know. And like you're saying with sodium, it is in a lot of stuff. I think it's again going back to moderation probably too, where
Yeah.
it's sugar, like you're saying, is the culprit because sugar's also in everything.
Yeah.
But there's just so much of it. There's so much of sugar. There's so much of sodium. And that's kind of like the segueing into the question I was about to ask of
Yeah.
when it comes to your diet, do you notice even if someone, again, you're talking about not changing what they eat, even if they just change the source, if that makes sense, to where it's not so much processed, maybe it doesn't have as much of the sodium dump or sugar dump that,
Mhm.
you know, you look at the label and you go, oh my goodness, I didn't realize it had that much in it.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for somebody with their diet? You mentioned that again, don't change, but maybe is there a source or is there what steps would you recommend to that individual?
All right, I'll give you an experience I had with a client. This is when I was like really just first getting started. And you know, learning about getting into the coaching, you know, business, one of the first things that you learn is that you need to build clientele. And the only way you can do that is by coaching for free. So I had a client who I, you know, was like, look, I'll coach you for 3 months for free, no charge. This person lasted 2 weeks. And the reason why was they worked at Starbucks. And granted, this person was a mom, maybe a little older than me, maybe around my age, but she had a lot of health problems. So make a long story short, we got down to the issue of being her Starbucks drink, which she's getting for free, right? She works there. So she's got access to all the goodies. So I find out and she tells me she, I'm sorry, half of her cup of coffee was made up of sweetener, like this, the syrup. Half.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So before she adds her coffee, right, she starts off with a half cup of the syrup. And I'm like, wow. So I said, let's do this. Let's do this. And like you said, I don't tell people to like, I mean, I do tell them to change somewhat,
Sure.
but I want them to reduce more than anything, just reduce. So I said, look, let's do this. Instead of a full cup, let's do, or I'm sorry, half a cup. Let's do a fourth of a cup. Let's do a fourth of a cup. She's like, all right, next week. I was like, how did it go? I hated it. I couldn't do it. I was like, okay, okay, bump it down. Maybe not okay. Don't cut it in half. Just cut it down by a quarter. What is that? 5/8 or something like that.
Yeah.
I get a text. She was like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't do this. I was like, an 8, like an 8, you can't, but it really spoke to the power, right, of sugar addiction.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the problem with sugar. It's not just the calories. The calories is a huge problem with sugar. And when I say sugar, I don't mean sugar from like fruits. I mean, sugar from fruits can be a problem too. But sugar that is in the form of syrup, especially, not only is it the worst form, but it's also the most addictive. When you can't cut out an 8, when you can't cut that out of your life in your morning coffee, and you're like, I'm done. Wow. What a testament to the addiction. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
with that experience, I would say if a person can just work on detoxing from the sugar, cutting down first, and then just like basically cutting you're addicted,
Yeah.
Once you can do that, once you can just detox and not be addicted to sugar anymore, it's like it's like you leveled up. What I mean? It's like you've gotten you've unlocked a new achievement, and then things really start to work for you. I love video games.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to put it. There was a study I saw about sugar. If this puts it into perspective, you're mentioning like fruits that have sugar naturally. The sugar that we know is not natural sugar. It is refined and stripped down of its nutrients. In fact, if you look at sugar, there is not any kind of nutrients that's good for you. That's what they were showing in this study. Natural sugar from fruit, there are some nutrients in it. Now, again, you don't need to go crazy because it does have the fructose. That's what causes body fat. But, and again, we'll go back to moderation. So exactly what you're saying. I think you're really hitting on the points about sugar. It's one of those subtle dangers, I would call it a danger, because that's really what can cause a lot of health problems. Just look up any kind of health problem practically. If it's not hereditary in some capacity, it's probably what's in your diet. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's something that some people need to be educated on, and that's again why we're glad we have you here to educate us all, because we could we need more of that.
That's the thing. There's somebody I used to work with. He said, we're drowning in information, but everybody's dying of thirst. Like, there's so much information on the internet. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Is that a problem? Kind of, because you have misinformation as well. You know what I mean? So there's so much out there, but it's like some people, I guess the thing is like, where do you look? Where do you look for this information? And a lot of it is, unfortunately, if you don't have someone to help you, unfortunately, it becomes trial and error.
Yeah.
Which can be frustrating, right? Like, you try something and you're like, wow, I've gained, or you try something and you're like, I don't have any energy, and it's like, that's a rough way to get educated, So, I guess what I wanted to touch on was like, this social media with the short films and short videos, everybody getting their dopamine fix. Like, you see something for like 2 seconds and you're like, okay, I'm going to do that. Next flip. Oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, I'm going to do that. And then you're doing like all these different things. And it's like, where's the consistency? Where's the, just because this person says it and then this person says something different, like, you can't do all of it at once. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's quite the conundrum we are in this day and age with all this information. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's for sure. That's kind of the other question I was going to ask. So, like, exactly to your point, people see a headline and they, it says, Lucky Charms is the 10th healthiest food you can eat. And people take that as, oh, well, I can go eat breakfast cereal all
Yeah.
day. But all they saw was a headline. So
Right.
what sources would you recommend for somebody? Because I think exactly what you're saying. People need to do the research for themselves. But what would you recommend for sourcing that ones can look to?
Whew. Okay, so if you're, because I think I heard that same thing about Lucky Charms. They said it's healthier to eat than egg.
Yeah.
Right?
What?
Yeah, man.
You have to look it up. It's crazy. It's so
I'm
crazy.
stocking up on Lucky Charms now.
Yeah. The other thing I heard is that like the USDA, right, or not USDA, FDA, they're like pushing for Americans to take on a more refined, not what's the word? I'm forgetting English again. What's the food when it's been like refined? You know what I mean? When it's not like in its natural state, processed.
Just process. Yeah.
Process.
Exactly.
You know, FDA is pushing for Americans to eat like a 90% processed food diet.
Oh my God.
And the Lucky Charms plays a part in that, you know. You ask me, where do people common sense? I mean, come on, like,
right.
Can we really honestly say, you know, that a box cereal with marshmallows in it, you know, it's magically delicious. I'm not going to argue that. However, come on, man, it's, you know, there's a leprechaun in the box. I mean, what did that tell you? Like, so, you know, take out MyFitnessPal. I from what I understand in America, you can no longer use the scan bar feature for free. But if there is an app, you know, that you can use that uses a scan bar, if you don't feel like reading the nutrition label, scan it and just look at the numbers. You know, just scan it. Do the free trial of MyFitnessPal. Scan it. I sound like I'm a representative of MyFitnessPal. I'm not. Scan it and just look at the data. Look at the bars. You know, does the bar fill up on carbs and sugar like immediately? You know what I mean? Like, does it leave any room for you to eat any more sugar for the day? Like, yeah, dude, that's wild. That's absolutely wild. Yeah. People are gonna read that and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I just looked it up. So the whatever food industry, the government funded food pyramid, it even has it in parentheses. They said Lucky Charms are healthier than steak.
Steak.
Yes, they put steak at the bottom. They put I guess it's a out of 100 rating scale. At the top they put watermelon as 100 and steak ground beef is 26. And right there in the middle at 60 is Lucky Charms. So
come on, man.
So you know what you need to do now. Anytime you have a steak, cover it in Lucky Charms.
That sounds so bad, but I'm sure people have done it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I don't know. How do you say that? It's just kind of exactly what you're saying. They're trying to get people on a processed diet, 90%. So, yeah, exactly what you're saying. Be careful where you get your sources. Just use common sense.
Yeah, man.
I mean, you look at this. I think you can have common sense. There's many. I'm just kind of looking as a quick search. There's a bunch of joke articles about it. So, I think people got the point, right?
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm looking at the nutrition for Lucky Charms, right? So let's say, like, I love steak, right? I mean, you know, what red-blooded American doesn't?
Yeah.
If you okay, so let me start off with the steak first. Let's say I want to have an 8-ounce. Oh man, what's that one at? Can't talk today. Prime rib. So let's say I love prime rib, right? All right, so let's say I get myself an 8-ounce, let's say 6-ounce prime rib. 6-ounce prime rib is 580 calories. Okay. 38 grams of protein. It's high in fat. It's not the best steak choice. 46 grams of fat is a lot, but you know, 580 calories, 38 grams of protein, not bad. Lucky Charms. Let's take a look at this. So what do we say? We said 6-ounce steak, right? I'm going to go 6 ounces of Lucky Charms. 693 calories. 100. Now, mind you, the steak had 0 carbs, which there's nothing wrong with carbs, but this has 138 grams of carbs.
Oh man.
Holy
Man.
smokes.
12 grams of protein, as opposed to our 38, almost 40 grams of protein.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing that nobody talks about in these issues is how long will that keep you full?
Right.
You know, the
That's it.
satiety, that's like key, right? Yeah, like I'm gonna eat this bowl of Lucky Charms, but who really gets done with a bowl of cereal? And they're like, oh, I'm so stuffed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, like I can't breathe. Like really, it's cereal. Like cereal's not built to do that. So
No. I grew up eating not one, but a lot of times 2 or 3 bowls of cereal. Exactly what you're saying. I was never full. It was like, I'm watching cartoons because that's when I ate the most, was when I was a kid.
absolutely,
And that's
absolutely
their target. But yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, to our point, do the research. We just did the research and that took all of a minute. And learned something. We learned something new, that as much as we would want to put Lucky Charms on steak, you probably shouldn't. So we'll enjoy our steak, cooked to how we like it, but no breakfast cereals on top. I can't recommend that.
I do want to mention, if anybody out there wants to do that, just send us the photos at mustaches@yahoo.com.
Yes, tag us in your picture if that's your thing. We're interested. It's for more of a study, but
it's the new trend that's taking over the nation. Lucky Charms on your steak.
Oh man, oh my gosh, if that happens, ish.
Well, that's some great points. I think we got a lot of information just in the short time talking with you. But what we're going to actually do, it's what we do with all our guests. We're going to have more questions geared towards you, Jason. So I'm going to spin it over to Ben. He's got some questions. There are what we call universal questions.
Oh boy. All right, let's go.
All right, buckle up. Are you ready for this, Jason?
Yep. I think so.
All right. Favorite movie line or general quote?
Wow. Hold on. I got it. Man, I'm jumping between two. One is how can the same stuff happen to the same guy twice? And then the other one is this is probably my favorite. Wicked men flourish when good men do nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
That
yeah.
sounds
Sorry,
like
I gave you two.
A bumper sticker.
Oh, that's fine. You can give as many as you want, but usually, sometimes people have like a life phrase. They usually go that route.
A life phrase.
Next one. Favorite band or artist?
Linkin Park.
Nice.
Yeah, Linkin Park. No question.
I'm right there with you. Favorite meal or food, especially since you're in Thailand?
Dude, the longer you're here, the more you miss American food. I'm gonna say favorite meal right now is probably a triple cheeseburger. Yeah, that's my favorite. Five Guys, man. Five Guys. I know they're like $25 for a meal now, but yeah.
We can mail you one. It might be a little cold when you get it, along with a box of Lucky Charms.
Dude, I could go for some Lucky Charms now. I could do that. Yeah.
We could mail you that because it's processed, so it won't go bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
A box of Lucky Charms here. Side note, a box of Lucky Charms here, no lie, is $10.
Wow. Whoa.
That's before COVID.
Man. So
that's crazy.
Man, that's a whole other discussion we won't get into.
Yeah.
It just sounds like everything's kind of all over the place. But anyway.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite vacation?
Thailand. Absolutely.
Thailand.
Yeah. That's why I'm here. I never wanted to stop vacation.
You just never went home.
Yeah.
You went on vacation and never went home.
Never went back, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't go around hugging tigers.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Bucket list item.
North Korea. Go visit
go
North
there.
Korea. I want to go visit it. Yeah.
That'd be a big one.
Yeah.
That
might be the last bucket. Yeah. I might actually kick the bucket at that point. Yeah.
That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off, right?
Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
So I have one, and then Isaac's going to wrap up. We again thank you for being on our podcast. Again, we're Mustaches and Coffee. So we have to ask you, what's your favorite mustache?
It's got to be the handlebar. It's got to be the handlebar.
Nice.
Mustache. Yeah.
It's a popular but very, very solid choice on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, can't go
Side
wrong with
note,
the
I had a full beard before this podcast, and I went to edge it up myself, and I messed it up. So I just took it all the way off. So I wanted to wear it for this interview, and things didn't work out.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That's my fear whenever I'm doing touch-ups too. So you just lived my greatest fear when shaving.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. It'll grow back at least. That's
Yeah.
It's all good. So along with favorite mustache, we have to ask you then, what's your favorite coffee?
Dude, if you ever get a chance to go to Myers and get a bag of Zingerman's coffee.
Okay.
I had a supervisor when I worked for the state of Ohio get me a bag of that because I was just starting intermittent fasting, and I was drinking my coffee black, and she was like, you need to do a light to medium roast. So she got me this bag of coffee called Zingerman's, Zinger Men's, and she got it from Myers. Dude, best coffee I ever had. Yeah, loved it. I don't know why
I haven't seen that. Okay, maybe that's why.
yeah, that could be why. I don't know if they're still in business or not, but if you ever see it at Meijer, if Meijer's is still around, I don't know what's going on in the States these days, but that's a good coffee. Yeah,
they're still around. I got one right down the street for me, so I'm gonna keep my eyes out for it. I'm always up for trying some new coffee, so I appreciate your recommendation there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, we thank you so much for being on with us this week. Now we want to open it up to you, though. Where can people find you? As we mentioned, you do offer coaching. So where can people find you at?
I'm on Instagram, Get Results. So that's GET_results. No S's, Z's. Check me out. I've got some pics of some of my clients. A lot of them have done really well. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're still able to eat what they like, So check me out on there. I have a link. I have a link to, something I put together on Amazon. You can check that out too. But I'll be posting more content on there. I've been trying to do some more things in the gym myself, more progressive overloading and things like that. So that's where you can find me.
Great. Well, again, we appreciate having on. Be sure to check out Jason. If you're interested, we highly recommend him because he'll be able to reach your goals and get results. So without any further delay, we're going to move into our last segment.
Last Drop.
Brought to you by Coffee. Take it away, Ben.
A Southern California police department has been handcuffed by Lego after the toy company asked the agency to stop adding Lego heads to cover the faces of suspects in the image it shares on social media. Why the covered faces? The department wrote, the Merida Police Department prides itself in its transparency with the community, but also honors everyone's rights and protections as afforded by the law, even suspects. So what they did was those who said they had a lesser crime, if their photo got released to protect their identity, they would cover their heads with Lego images. That's what I got.
So would it be ironic to see a Batman Lego head on a criminal, seeing Batman arrested? I don't know. What do you think, Jason? That would be kind of interesting, right?
Well, yeah. I had a question about that, though. You said they got handcuffed?
Yeah, so basically Lego is telling them to cease and desist. This has been going on since 2023.
Got it.
Apparently there's a whole gallery of this.
Man, these companies, these companies are getting out of hand, man. You can't use a general Lego. Come on. Come on.
Got to protect the
Oh.
brand, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, man. Eesh.
So, well, thank you, Ben, for that. And we won't be looking at Legos the same anymore, I'm sure. We'll
No.
have that. All right. Well, let's make sure we do our due diligence. So, Ben, where can people find us at?
We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Stash and Joe, STASHE and Joe. If you have any questions or comments, you can message us on our social platforms or email us at mustachesandcoffee@yahoo.com. That's how you get a hold of us.
Great. And we want to remind everyone we have a contest going on right now. So be sure to check our social media page. We'll leave it at that. We made mention of it on our previous episode, but we want to make sure that everyone's reminded of that. If you want to get your entry in, make sure you check us out. And also, if you don't mind, give us a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate you as a listener, but we want to be able to make sure that as many people can find us as they can. So we can't thank you enough, Jason, once again for being with us. It's great to catch up with you. So
absolutely,
we look forward to talking with you more in the future.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been great. A lot of fun. Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Had a great time. So that'll do it for this week then. But as we always say, don't bash the stash.
I need espresso for the depresso.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys.